Greetings. A young lady whom I was counseling said that I always provide positive motivation. Positive motivation encourages individuals through rewards, praise, and personal growth. However, the lady mentioned that positive motivation does not work for her. She said that she prefers toxic motivation, which is a contrarian approach to positive motivation. So, what is toxic motivation? Toxic motivation is a form of negative motivation that is particularly harmful. It involves using destructive tactics to push individuals towards achieving certain goals. These tactics may include inducing fear of failure, leveraging guilt, shaming, or applying relentless pressure. For example, a manager might use toxic motivation by constantly threatening employees with job loss in case they don't meet certain targets. Or a coach might berate athletes to the point of emotional exhaustion to elicit better performance. Toxic motivation is not limited to the workplace or sports. It can also be found in educational settings, personal relationships, and even within oneself, where internal dialogue becomes a source of self inflicted toxic motivation. The common thread in all these scenarios is the reliance on negative stimuli to force compliance or performance, often at the expense of well being. So, what are the short term effects of toxic motivation? In the short term, toxic motivation can produce immediate results. The fear of negative consequences can drive individuals to work harder, meet deadlines, or perform at a higher level. For instance, an employee threatened with dismissal might put in extra hours to complete a project, or a student shamed for poor grades might study intensely to avoid further criticism. These immediate benefits, however, come at a significant psychological cost. The pressure to perform under toxic motivation often leads to increased stress and anxiety. Individuals may comply with the demands placed upon them, but their engagement and enthusiasm for the task diminish. Moreover, the fear based compliance generated by toxic motivation is usually temporary. Once the immediate threat is removed, motivation wanes. What are the long term consequences of toxic motivation? While toxic motivation may yield quick results, its long term consequences are often detrimental. Sustained exposure to toxic motivation can lead to serious mental health issues such as chronic stress, anxiety, depression, and burnout. These conditions not only affect the individual's well being, but also the ability to perform effectively over time. In the workplace, toxic motivation can result in a toxic culture where trust, collaboration, and morale are eroded. Employees may become disengaged, leading to decreased productivity and higher turnover rates. In extreme cases, the damage caused by toxic motivation can spread beyond the individual, affecting team dynamics and the overall success of the organization. For instance, a company that relies heavily on fear and intimidation to motivate its employees may find that its workforce becomes increasingly demoralized, leading to poor performance, innovation stifling, and even reputational damage. Similarly, in sports, toxic motivation can result in physical and emotional exhaustion, injury, and a loss of passion for the game. Athletes may push themselves beyond their limits to meet the unrealistic demands of a toxic coach, only to suffer from long term consequences such as burnout or career ending injuries. The pressure to succeed at all costs can also lead to unethical behavior such as doping or cheating as individuals seek to escape the negative consequences of failure. Why toxic motivation often fails? Toxic motivation often fails because it's not sustainable. While it may generate short term compliance, it does not build genuine commitment or intrinsic motivation. Individuals motivated by fear or guilt are less likely to take initiative, think creatively, or go beyond what is required. Instead, they are more likely to do the bare minimum to avoid negative consequences. Moreover, toxic motivation undermines trust and morale. When individuals feel that they are being manipulated or coerced, they are less likely to trust their leaders or engage fully in their work. This erosion of trust can lead to a self fulfilling prophecy, where the very tactics to increase performance ultimately result in failure. For example, a manager who uses traits to motivate employees may find that their team becomes increasingly disengaged, leading to poor performance and eventually the need for even more coercion. What are the alternatives to toxic motivation? Given the numerous drawbacks of toxic motivation, it is essential to explore healthier alternatives. Positive reinforcement and encouragement are far more effective in the long run. Building intrinsic motivation where individuals are driven by personal satisfaction and a sense of accomplishment is key to sustained success. Creating a supportive and empowering environment is crucial. Leaders and mentors can foster a culture of trust, respect, and collaboration where individuals feel valued and motivated to contribute their best. This approach not only enhances performance, it also promotes well-being and personal growth. For instance, a company that recognizes and rewards employee achievements, provides opportunities for professional development, and encourages work-life balance is likely to see higher levels of engagement, innovation, and productivity. Similarly, in sports, coaches who focus on building athletes' confidence, fostering teamwork, and promoting a love for the game are more likely to develop resilient, motivated athletes who perform well and enjoy long, successful careers. Toxic motivation, while capable of producing short-term results, ultimately fails as a long-term strategy. The psychological and emotional toll it takes on individuals can lead to decreased performance, disengagement, and serious mental health issues. Moreover, toxic motivation undermines trust and morale, leading to a toxic culture that is detrimental to both individuals and organizations. In contrast, positive motivation strategies that focus on encouragement, support, and the development of intrinsic motivation are far more effective in the long run. By fostering a culture of trust, respect, and collaboration, leaders can motivate individuals to achieve their best while also promoting their well-being. In the end, it is clear that toxic motivation does not trust work, at least not in a way that leads to sustainable success. As individuals and leaders, it is our responsibility to reject toxic motivation in favor of more positive, empowering approaches that bring out the best in ourselves and those around us. Coming back to my discussion with the lady, I was able to convince her that toxic motivation does not work in the long term. So we are back to the good old positive motivation. Thank you very much for your time.